Hi, I'm Reuben L, and I'm interviewing Mary Thomas Miller with Innovative Therapy. Mary, I came to you, I was working out, but I had pain. I had gone from 239 pounds down to 214, and I was pretty excited about that. And you told me that you could help me with my pain. And tell me a little bit about TMR and what the foundation of it is and how it works.
Okay, so TMR stands for Total Motion Release. And the premise behind it is by using our best movements in a specific sequence, we can expand those best movements throughout our entire body so that those movements that give us pain or limit us are less, meaning fewer number of movements that cause us pain and fewer body parts that cause us pain, because we end up balancing our own bodies by doing these specific movements.
Well, what I found out, you had me go through a certain sequence of exercises and positions, and it found out where the hot spots or the pain spots were, and then once we found those out, then you had a whole sequence of exercises on the other side, the side that didn't bother me, and it made the side that was bothering me bother me less or reduce the pain. How does that work?
Right. So if we look at Turtle Man back here, our core is supposed to be right here in our center. But a lot of times we have an injury and it pulls the core out of the center. And then what happens? We get another injury and it goes to another place. And by the time that we've been through a few years of life, which most of us have been through, we end up with that core, not just a straight line down, but we end up with all of these different places that it goes to. So what we're looking for when we test those movements is where's our next place that we need to go in order to bring the core closer back to the center. And over that sequence, what we were doing is bringing that core into the center.
So what happened was, I was pretty happy with the weight loss that I had, losing, like 25 pounds in a year. And then I doubled that. I went from 214, now I'm down to like 164, because I was able to step up my activity and do more things. I'm doing things now that I never did at my peak, all right? And it caused me to even burn more calories and lose more weight. And I'm very excited about that. I started promoting it to other people, other veterans, or people I know that maybe need to work out. And I promoted F3, Faith, Fitness, and Fellowship. And I'm excited about that, and everybody else gets this deer in the headlights look, because they're worried about the pain. How could TMR help them through that process?
Well, it's like you said a minute or two ago, where you said that we actually used the movements that didn't hurt to resolve the pain in the areas that did hurt. So we weren't using the movements over and over again in the painful areas. We were using the movements that didn't hurt in order to bring that out of balance into a different balance, and then continue to work on that by finding the movements that hurt and then treating with the movements that didn't hurt in that specific sequence. And so you don't have to beat people up, you don't have to injure them or hurt them in order to help them find that balance and be able to know their bodies better. We basically have two motivators in life, pain and pleasure, right? So nobody wants pain. And so finding a method to help people resolve the pain without going through so much pain is really a gift, because when people start to use it, they're like, well, I can do that, because this method can be taken very, very basic and very, very beginning level, even for somebody in a wheelchair who has very significant physical limitations. Or you can start somebody who is working out, such as yourself, and we can make those workouts easier and more pleasurable and more enjoyable, because once your body was in better balance and you're exercising with no pain, what do you want to do? Exercise more, move more, enjoy life more. And so by balancing this out, using these movements, You don't have to go into severe pain. You just go to the point where you know what's blocked or what's limited. You use what's not limited in order to shift the balances for people.
Well, what got me really motivated was one of my friends from the SEAL teams, a couple years younger than me. He let himself get big, and he got inactive, and his heart couldn't take it, and he'd had a heart attack. And we had an officer, did 2 platoons together, the same officer, asked me how I was doing. I got big, and I was inactive, and he got in my dish and scolded me, and I started working out, and it was torture for a couple months up there, this gym in Dallas, this young kid, but I got to the point where I could do 10 pull-ups in a row. I started doing my calisthenic workouts, and Fridays, it was just on my own workout, 10 pull-ups before I went, 10 pull-ups before I left, then I moved to Mercedes, started working out at a boxing gym there, and I did, 10 pull-ups when I came, 11 when I left. Next day, 12. I did one more every time I did it, until I got to the point I was up to 25 of pull-ups, and then I came to Edinburgh, so I worked out at this other boxing gym, and I started doing 3 sets, started at 10, the next day did 12, 11, 12, up to 25, back down, and I'm really functional. I'm 54 years old. I just did 3 sets of 17 pull-ups today, and I'm doing things. I'm throwing my jab, and I'm hitting harder than I've ever hit in my life with my jab. It's almost as hard as my right hand, and I could never do that before. Now I can. I'm excited about it, heard about this F3 program, this faith, fitness, and fellowship group, guys praying and working out. I'm all excited about it. I start telling these guys that I know need it, and they get this wipe. They go away, and they get a deer in their headlights look, but they need it. They got the Dunlap disease, their belly's Dunlapping over their belt. What's going on with them? What's happening in their bodies?
Well, most of the time, again, when we're motivated by pain or pleasure, and we're motivated to stay away from pain, and they've already gotten out of shape, and their past experience has always been to continue to if I start exercising, it's going to hurt, I'm going to be out of shape, I'm going to feel embarrassed at the gym because I, have the Dunlap and all of these things. And what they don't realize is when they begin at an appropriate level for their current status, and they do movements that are all about bringing the core back into balance rather than beating it into balance. We use knowledge and power to balance out the body rather than force. Force brings pain. People want to avoid that. And rightfully so, I agree with them. But when we use power, which is knowledge applied appropriately at a pace that person can handle and tolerate, then we get balance and we're able to function like you're functioning now and like you're feeling right now with your ability to go to the gym and work out harder than you've worked out in probably decades because your body is got that balance coming back into it. And that's why TMR is such a powerful method, because we don't have to injure the body or traumatize the body in order to bring that balance back in there. And so it works.
I'm not taking painkillers, I'm not taking Motrin, I'm not taking anything, I'm not self-medicating with alcohol or other drugs. I know people that have done that, and that killed them. Okay, so if they knew about TMR, how could it improve their life? How could it help them? Somebody who's not in shape trying to get back in shape, or somebody who's injured, has pain, and wants to get back in shape. What is it going to do?
Well, they in the process of therapy is to teach that individual how to apply principles in their own lives with their own bodies. And if they spend 10 to 15 minutes a day after they've learned the steps and learned the principles in therapy, and they use 10 to 15 minutes a day to apply those, their body just keeps getting better and better, and then they want to move more. So if I want to move more, I'm not trying to handle my stress with food or medications, and I'm moving more. So I'm going to burn more calories, and I'm going to increase my muscle strength, and all of those things work together so that I get to this point of health and wellness, rather than saying, oh, this is the way you do it. We're going to put you into a workout and we're going to make you feel like somebody's holding a little whip over you and saying, do it, do it, do it. Instead, we're going to invite you to try some movements, bring your body into better balance, which then expands your desire to move, which then further expands your desire to move as you continue to bring your body into balance. And typically we give our cars more attention than we give our bodies. And especially from the inside out. We want to go and get a pill or get something else to fix us, when really the best fix for pretty much everything comes from the inside out. It comes from that faith and that fellowship. It comes from being able to have appropriate tools and apply them in appropriate ways for you. So your way that you're going to apply something is different than the way that I would apply it, but we can still get benefits from it as long as we spend those 10 to 15 minutes a day doing those activities that are going to change our body balance.
So let me kind of summarize my experience. You came in here and you had me do a series of exercises to find out where the pain was. But we didn't focus on that anymore. You had me work on exercises on the opposite side of that area of my body that I was having pain. And it made the pain side feel better. And we just kept doing it. And sometimes that area would move, to the different area, different part of it, and we'd adjust the exercise. But eventually, after like 6 weeks, I don't have pain anymore.
And what does it mean to you that you don't have that pain anymore?
Well, it's like I found the fountain of youth. It's amazing. Yeah, I wish I wasn't 54, right? I could, make another run at the Olympics. But, it's incredible.
It makes life a joy to live again when you can move well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm showing off. But I'm just doing it. It's fun. It's exciting. So I want this message to go out there, and all those guys that are scared to either come to therapy, or they're scared to start working out again, to give them hope and actually help them live longer. And that's why I'm doing this with you. That's why I'm interviewing you right now.
Well, thanks for asking me to come and do this interview. I really appreciate it. And keep on keeping on.
Well, thank you so much.
Because you did find the fountain of youth.
Yeah.